Hi, I'm Dave of Urban Astro, and today what I want to do is introduce you to 7 websites that I wish I had known about when I was starting out in astrophotography. As we all know, astrophotography is a fun hobby. It's also a hobby that's full of frustration and full of problem solving and full of expense. Expense both in terms of money, cash, as well as time. And there are 7 websites that I want to bring to your attention. Now, many of you who have been doing astrophotography for quite some time are already well aware of these websites, in which case you can follow along. It might be interesting. But for those of you who are just starting out in astrophotography, these I wish I knew when I was starting. So the first website is in a category that I would just call general, and that is Astronomy Tools. This is a great website. This is one of 3 websites that I'm going to show today that are actually hosted and developed by an astrophotography vendor, in this case First Light Optics, headquartered out of Devon in the UK. It's a great website. There's a lot of things out here at Astronomy.Tools, a lot of things for visual astronomers as well as for astrophotography. And I would invite you to come out here and just explore and to look and to just really see what is out here at this particular website. One of the places that I find myself going to a lot is this section here called calculators. Now, these calculators cover a lot of different things, and they're incredibly helpful, especially if you're trying to determine whether or not a particular camera will work well with a particular telescope, or if a particular telescope will work well with a particular mount. These calculators can help you figure that out. Now, I'm not going to show you everything because we'd be here all day if I went through everything. But I just wanted to show you, for instance, one calculator that I use a lot, and that is the CCD suitability calculator. Now, CCD, you could put in its place CMOS and it would still work. It doesn't matter whether it's actually a charged coupled device, which is what a CCD is, or if it's a CMOS, which is what you get with most photography cameras and astro cameras nowadays. A lot of them are CMOS. You still get a lot of CCDs. It doesn't matter. Whenever you see CCD, you can typically put in CMOS and the exact same stuff works. So in this particular case, CCD suitability is a really important calculator that I often find myself going to time and time again to figure out if whether or not a particular camera will work with a telescope of a particular focal length. What's great about this particular calculator, in this particular case here, the CCD suitability calculator, is that they walk through and talk about what the calculator does and why it does. They give you some of the theory behind it, like the Nyquist theorem, as to whether or not something is being undersampled or oversampled. They go through and explain what those two things mean. What does it mean to be oversampled? What does it mean to be undersampled? And whether or not the camera is suitable for the telescope that you're going to put it on. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to show you the calculator itself. So for instance, you can come in here and you can pick a telescope. Astro Tech 80 millimeter EDT. So I'm going to come down here, and I know it's in here. Astro Tech, there it is, the 80 EDT. It has a focal length of 480 millimeters, and it has a focal length of f6, which is not necessary for this particular calculator. Now, I can put on a reducer, and there's different reducers here and Barlows. If you're doing astrophotography, you're never going to use a Barlow unless you're doing planetary. But outside of planetary, if you're doing deep space, you're not going to do Barlows, but you may have a reducer on them. or a field flattener. In my particular case, I've got a field flattener that doesn't change my focal length whatsoever. So what camera am I using? If I come over here and click on camera, I can scroll down and I can find my camera. In fact, I'm going to go all the way down here to the very, very bottom to the ASI, and here we go. Here's the ASI 2600 Pro. And as you can see here, I am perfectly sampled. I am neither oversampled nor am I undersampled, but I'm right here in the middle. In fact, anywhere from 0.67 up to 2 arc seconds per pixel, I'm in a sweet spot. And that's where I'm at. I'm at 1.62 arc seconds per pixel. What I find helpful for this is not only to figure out whether or not I'm going to be undersampled or if I'm going to be oversampled, but it also gives me a clue as to what my guiding needs to be. Root mean square error that you find in guiding graphs like PhD2, it will tell you what the RMS guide error is. And as long as I am below 1.62 arc seconds of guiding error, I'm going to end up with an image that's going to be a decent image. Because of the pixel size and the focal length, I can have that kind of error in my guiding. And so it helps. It helps to know that my guiding can be pretty crappy on my EQ6R Pro. It never is that bad. I mean, my guiding might go up to like 0.7, 0.8 during a really rough patch of seeing it really sucks. But for the most part, it's never going to be as bad as 1.62. But I know a lot of people use like an 80mm scope like this on a mount where the guiding might be 1.2 to 1.0 arc seconds of RMS error, in which case this calculator can help you to see whether or not your mount is guiding well enough for you to use this camera and telescope combination. But you can see how a calculator like this can be helpful, especially when you're struggling trying to figure out how to pair a camera with a telescope. And also understanding how your mount performs can also inform you as to how good of a mount you probably need for that camera and telescope combination. Other websites that I use for planning purposes. And one of my favorites is, believe it or not, Astrobin.com. Now, Astrobin.com, they want you to join and become a member, but even if you're not a member, you can still at least go and you can explore and look, and that's what's nice about this. And this helps in terms of planning, because you'll often hear about people shooting different objects, and it's kind of like, well, what does the object look like? What kind of equipment do people use? And it just kind of helps you to understand if whether or not what you have for equipment will work for that particular object. And that's what I like to use Astrobin for. So I can come here to explore, and I can explore, for instance, like for equipment. And I've already been out here before, so I go to 40. That's where I'm going to find my camera. So I go here to ASI, and I'm going to go to a 2600 Pro. Actually, let me go ahead and try this. I'm going to go to the ASI 071 MC Pro because it's a new camera for me, and I'm kind of curious as to how people have used that camera. And that's a brand new camera for me, so I haven't really used it much yet, so I'm really kind of curious. As you can see here, there's 446 users on this website that actually use this camera, and there are 5,103 images taken with this camera. So let me go ahead and let's take a look. So here are images that people have acquired using this camera, and you can see there's quite a variety of images here. So apparently, let's take a look. This is the Whirlpool cluster, the Whirlpool galaxy. This is M51. So this was taken using a Celestron 8-inch SCT, which has a 2032 millimeter focal length. And they used, the mount they used was an Orion AZ EQ Atlas Pro. So that's pretty good. They got a great image there using this camera with that mount, with that telescope. So you can begin to understand what kind of pairings and what other people have gotten in terms of images. Now, I can look at this and I can say that it is slightly oversampled because the stars are a little puffy and they're not as sharp as they could be, but that's still a great image. It's still a beautiful image. And so that's what I use Astrobin for, is to understand what a camera and telescope combination can be. Also, if I want to shoot a particular object, what does that object look like? So that's another place that I can go to here. So I can go up here to explore, and I can go into advanced search, and it's going to bring me to a different dialog. And here in this dialog, I can go ahead, like let's say I want to do the Cone Nebula. So that's NGC 2264, and I'm going to search. So how many other people have taken the Cone Nebula? As you can see, there's a lot of images here of the Cone Nebula. In fact, there's 3,799 images of the Cone Nebula. Some of these are in HA, black and white. Some of these are in colors. Let me go ahead and take a look at this one. So here's one here. That's a pretty decent image. The other website that I really, really love to go to, talking to the Fox Fur and the Cone, there it was, right there. That was funny. That was a great segue. Right here's the Cone and the Fox Fur. So anyways, another great website to go to, sorry, I got distracted there, is Telescopius.com. Now, Telescopius.com, it's a free membership. You can use Google to sign in and to sign up. And once you sign in and sign up, you can put in your equipment, like your cameras and your telescopes. And I'll show you in a minute why that becomes really kind of important. Because, for instance, it knows where I'm at. Generally, it says that I'm in Goodyear, but I'm actually just a little over, about 20 miles over from there. But it's close enough that it works. And if I'm looking at galaxies, here are 3 galaxies that I can view tonight. I can view the sunflower, the fireworks, the cigar. They're all kind of coming up. I can go to like Bright Nebula. We got the Running Man, which is going to be setting, and the Witch Head, which will be setting, and of course the Pleiades. We're catching the last tail end of the Pleiades here. Get it for a couple hours. And what's really nice is, for instance, let's say that I wanted to shoot the Pleiades tonight. So I can open up Pleiades here, and it shows you various pictures that people have taken and submitted of the Pleiades. Here's the Pleiades, here's the California Nebula. Didn't know that they were that close, but apparently they're not that far away. Okay. But what's nice is that if you put in your telescopes in your cameras, you can use this for framing. You can see what kind of framing you might get. So for instance, if I said, okay, I want to shoot this with my Astro Tech 80 EDT, I can click on that, and let's say that I'm going to use my 071. So there we go. I can frame this thing. I can move my framing, so I can move. So if I wanted to frame it kind of like that, right there, I can frame it kind of like that. Let's say that I want to do a mosaic. So let's say that I want to do a 4x4 mosaic. There we go. I can do a 4x4 mosaic. Nothing there to take a mosaic of, but you can spec out for a mosaic. So let's say that I decided I wanted to take a 2x2 mosaic. I can do a 2x2 mosaic. I could do a 2x1 mosaic. There we go. 2x1 if I want to get this whole region like that, or if I just wanted to do a 1x1. single frame. But that's what I like about Telescopius, is it shows you what objects are in the sky for the evening that you're looking, and it makes recommendations. And you can go in here once you've signed up. You can come in here and you can input your telescopes and your cameras, and you can sit here and you can play with framing, so you can see what kind of a framing you're going to get. Another website that I use for planning purposes is Stellarium Web. Now, I have Stellarium on my desktop, but sometimes I may be sitting at like the doctor's office and it's like, I wonder what's up tonight. What can I go take a look at? Or what's coming up in the next couple of weeks? And I can open it up on my cell phone, and I can actually open it up and kind of look and kind of explore. And that's what stellariumweb.org, which is what the URL is great for. In this particular case, once you get yourself all set up, and I've got myself all set up, I've figured out that I was near Phoenix, which is close enough for what I need. I can come down here and I can change the time. So I'm going to change it to a little bit more around twilight. So there we go. So that's the east. So Leo is rising right now. So I can come in here and say, okay, well, what's here in Leo? Oh, what's in here in Leo? Oh, yep, we got deep sky objects. Huh, what's this right over here? Oh, look at that. There's a whole bunch of galaxies right there. Might be part of a Carrion's chain, I don't know. But there's M105, there's M196, M95. There's another galaxy right there. What else is here? Leo. Here's the Leo triplet. This is the Cigar Galaxy, and then here's M66 and M65. So this right here is the Leo triplet. So I can say, yeah, I can probably start shooting, if I wanted to, the Leo triplet right there. What else is here in Leo? But you see what I mean, is you can go through and you can just kind of explore, and you don't have to be at your desk to explore. You can just go in here and just kind of taking a look and seeing what's around. So here is in Cancer, we have the Beehive cluster. So that's the kind of planning that you can do using Stellarium Web. So what else can you do besides just look up general kind of things and general things about astrophotography or visual photography or tools that you can use in planning? Is one of my favorite websites, and that is Astromart.com. This is a website for buying and selling used astrophotography equipment. In fact, right here for $5.75, you can pick up Pegasus, Astro, Falcon, Rotator. It's in good condition. He bought it with his rig, decided to go with a Nightcrawler, which is another one. He got first light on it. He's selling it for $5.75. So pretty decent. He takes PayPal, so you can buy it with PayPal. You pay shipping plus any PayPal or Venmo fees if you were to Venmo. What I like about this is that there's different categories that you can go and you can explore. Now, you can come out here without a membership, but you're not going to see prices without a membership. You can read what's for sale, but you have no idea how much it's for sale. Some of that stuff there, in terms of what it's for sale for and all that, you have to buy a membership, and the membership is $15 per year. It's worth the price. So for instance, if I come out here to cameras, so you see here's all the Astromart classifieds. This is Astronaut garage sale, so this is just general kind of stuff that's out here for sale. This is all astronomy related equipment. A lot of it's astrophotography related equipment. So again, just like on Astronomy Tools, CCD and CMOS are interchangeable. So in this particular case, I can go into like CCD cameras for Astro. I can click on that and I can go what's for sale, boom, and right off the bat we have an ASI 6200 mm Pro, which is for $3,200, which is a great deal. Let's say we're looking for mounts. So you can go out here to mounts, and there's different mounts, an alt-ass mount or an equatorial. I do astrophotography, so I'm into equatorials. If you did visual, you'd want alt-ass. So let's go here to equatorial. What do we have for sale? I can sit here and I can filter on just those things that are for sale. And let me see. There's a Takahashi EM10. Okay. How much do they want for the Takahashi? $1,200. What else for mounts? If we were to look around here, I don't know about you, but you know, buying equipment used, you can often get some great deals because buying stuff new is really, really pricey. So for instance, here's Explorer Scientific EXOS 2GT, which is a great little beginner's mount. It's a great mount for those that are starting out astrophotography and they want to get a decent mount that they can put an 80mm scope on. This mount is pretty decent for that. $700. PayPal. Boom. Done. So Astromart is a great place to buy used equipment and to sell equipment that you're no longer using. It's a fantastic place. I come out here at least once a day just so that I can see what kind of deals are out there. How do I know when I want to go and shoot? How do I know what the weather is going to look like? Well, here's another website by First Light Optics. It's called clearoutside.com, and it's a fantastic website. And when you first get here, it defaults automatically to the headquarters of Flow, which is in Devon, the UK. And you can put up here postcode, town, or look up address. So I'm going to put in my zip code, 85339. There we are, Levine Village. Boom, there it is. So here it is, Saturday, the 11th. We got the waning gibbous. We're just out of full moon. There's a slight chance of rain in the next hour, 93%, but it's going to be very little. It's going to be a little sprinkle, if that at all. And again, rain here in Phoenix Valley. It's temperamental. Some places will get hammered and they'll be like a mile over from you and it's pouring out and it's sunny where you're at. It's bizarre. But as you can see, I'm not going to do any astrophotography tonight. It's going to be cloudy, and that's pretty much what I use this for, is clouds and what the weather's going to be like. So I'm looking here for tonight. I can see that there's a slight chance of rain at about 6 o'clock. It's basically going to be high clouds. It's all going to be mostly cirrus clouds. All the really high stuff. Look at that. And it's going to be a little bit windy. It's going to be 10 miles per hour wind. Here's the temperature. It's going to be a little warm right up until about 11 o'clock, and then it's going to get a little cool. Not that cool. Humidity is going to be kind of high for us here. Let's see what Sunday looks like. Sunday, I can probably photograph for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, and then it's going to get cloudy again. Again, it's going to be the high wispy clouds, and we're not going to get any rain. You can see kind of how this is useful for planning whether or not or when you can actually go out and you can do astrophotography. The last bit of websites that I just wanted to share, my 7th one and a bonus 8th one, is what I would call the general info. These are the websites that you can use if you want to just find out information. The first one is Cloudy Nights, which is also hosted by a astrophotography vendor. In this particular case, it's Astronomics, the same people who make the Astro Tech telescope series. And all you have to do is come here into forums and you can join. It doesn't take anything to join, but you can join here, and there's all kinds of discussions. There's discussions in here on equipment. I got here like no astrophotography, because you come down here to the astrophotography and you'll have some equipment discussions in here. In fact, they've got beginning deep sky, experienced deep sky. So if you're just starting out, beginning deep sky is where I would go, because people ask, like, trying to understand the difference between shooting OSC and LRGB. Well, there is a difference between one-shot color camera and shooting monochrome camera using luminance red, green, and blue filters. They're very different. It's a different process. And so, but if you want to understand what the difference is and understand what the difference in the kinds of equipment you're going to need to do either, this would be a great place to go and start reading. And again, hi everyone, I can use your help. I'm trying to figure out the differences between mono cameras using LRGB and one-shot color cameras. A great question. And that's the right kind of question to be asking, and this is a great place to start getting some answers for that. And that's what I like Cloudy Nights. And related to Cloudy Nights, a similar kind of website, and this is a bonus. This is number 8. So this is a bonus website for you. And that is stargazerslounge.com. And again, First Light Optics. So far, they've got 3 websites that I go out there from First Light. 4 if you count the vendor website itself, but there's Astronomy.Tools, there's ClearOutside.com, and there's Stargazers Lounge. It's essentially the same thing as Cloudy Nights, but you can go in here and they got retailer equipment. So like if you want to see what kind of clearance offers Flow has, I bought stuff from Flow, even though it's in England. They're very, very responsive. I get stuff from them just as quickly as I would from Agena Astro or OPT. I get things almost just as fast. It's just incredible to me. Flow is a great place to go shopping, as well as OPT, as well as Agena, as well as High Point Scientific. But anyways, you can come in here and there's discussions on scopes, home setups, software, the do-it-yourself astronomer, do-it-yourself observatories. Buy an observatory, or if you want to build one, here's a discussion on Pier construction, control of the dome, roll-off roof. Has anybody had any dealing with sheds? I'm not sure what that is. Thinking that they're talking about sky sheds or something like that. Concrete base, open air, fiber optic networking for observatories. Practical guide, who knew? But anyways, great place to come out, and if you've got questions about astrophotography, both of these sites are fantastic places to begin to ask those kinds of questions.
Well, that was a long video, and if you made it all the way here to the very, very end, thank you very much. Hopefully you learned a few things, at least maybe some new websites to go ahead and go and check out for your own astrophotography. And as always, there's just a lot of websites out there that are useful and beneficial to the astrophotography community. And so if there are other sites out there that I didn't mention in this video, go ahead and drop a line down in the comments below and share it with the rest of us. I'm always looking to add more tools to my toolkit. Astrophotography is a wonderful hobby. It's also one full of frustration and, like I noted before, full of expense, both in terms of time and cost. And it's something that you're always learning new things about. And in fact, as a beginning astrophotographer, I wish that I had known of a quick and easy way to go through and cull my images, because sometimes you might take several hundred light frames, and to have to go through each one individually is just painful. And so there's a video shown here on the screen that you can go ahead and you can click on and you can check out to see how I have solved that problem to help me quickly cull through the images that I've taken in order to speed up my post-processing. So until next time, clear skies and happy guiding.